From the Logan City Lanes in southeast Queensland, Nine's Wide World of Sports welcomes you back to the Coca-Cola Classic and the preliminary final of the women's section, and the giant killer Jo Ellen Day of Queensland up against Mary Flower of Queensland. Steve Mackey, can Jo Ellen keep on a winning way?
Well, she's had 3 on the trot. Each time she's produced in the 10th frame. It's just a marvellous performance by her. I think that she should go ahead and bowl against Barbara Richmond in the final. She's got a bit more experience than Mary.
Well, she's averaging 209 in the 3 games. That's pretty hard to beat.
Well, it's excellent bowling, and for anyone, and it's 19 pins above her regular average and 19 pins above the qualifying average she had in this tournament. So full marks to her for lifting her game at the right time.
Jo Ellen Day is from the beautiful Gold Coast in Queensland. Her highest game is 275, but averaging 209 in her 3 matches so far in the Coca-Cola Classic. She finished second in the 1986 South Pacific Classic, represented the Australian youth team for 3 years and the Australian senior team for 1 year. Mary Flower comes from the Brisbane Bayside suburb of Margate. She has a high game of 299, just 1 from a perfect game, and in 1986 was the winner of the Sunshine Bowl Coca-Cola tournament. The 1983 North Star Masters, was in the Queensland team in 75 and 76 and is a co-founder of the Queensland Ladies Circuit. So Mary Flower to bowl first in this preliminary final. I think it's interesting to note, Steve Mackey, the increase in standard from this tournament last year as far as the averages are concerned, and I suppose that has a lot to do with the Queensland Ladies Circuit, of which Mary Flower is a co-founder.
Yes, they're averaging 196 after 14 games in the women's final this year, as opposed to 179 last year. So a big increase in standard. Their 17 pins a game is no mean feat. Lots more strikes coming by the Queensland women and the interstate bowlers, and of course lots more spares as well. All the extra tournament competition that the QLC and the Goldpin bowling centres, AMF centres are providing is certainly increasing the standard of play around the country. Well, Mary Flower's open up with a 9 count, as you can see, and going for the 10 pin. And she's got it. That's a nice opening for her. She's very, very nervous, I can tell you. That will help put her at ease.
So Mary Flower opens with a spare, and now Jo Ellen Day will bowl 2 frames, first on lane 12 and then over to lane 11. A young girl who's been in such great form. Oh, but a very difficult split to start with. But she's bowled extremely well. The highlight, of course, being her win over Jeanette Baker-Flynn in the last round. Her Victorian opponent was no doubt the warm favourite, even though she was only seeded 3rd, but she was the favourite to take out the tournament. But she met Jo Ellen Day in scintillating form, and Jo Ellen Day won by 52 pins. However, her work cut out here to pick up her spare in the first frame.
Yes, the 5-7. And playing it safe, I would think, and going just for the 1 in a 1-game match, of course. Anything can happen. She certainly didn't appear to go for the spare. And as we've seen so often, she's come good in the latter part of the game. She had 8 strikes out of 12 shots at the headpin in that last game, 233. And she's had 198, 197 and 233 in the 3 appearances so far.
Another excellent crowd here at the Logan City Lane, situated between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. On lane 11, Jo Ellen Day leaves 3 pins standing, but she should be able to pick up a spare. In fact, it's vital for her that she does so. She couldn't afford 2 open frames to start the match.
No, that wouldn't be a good way to open, and this is a difficult spare here because the lanes, as we've said before, are turning a lot at the far end of the lane, the back end we call it. And you need to have very good accuracy with a reasonably straight ball at these corner pin spares. And she's in trouble. She overcompensated perhaps, and 18 in the 2nd frame. The first time we've seen Jo Ellen Day open 2 frames in succession, and she missed that quite comprehensively. Back to the drawing board for Jo Ellen Day and Mary Flower, who is possibly the most nervous of the 10 bowlers in the women's division, has a bit of breathing space. Another one of the bowlers using one of those hand gadgets. to try and help her release a stronger hitting ball, but Mary bowling with a reasonably lightweight ball there. Let's have a look at that now. Nice straight wrist, but she does have a little bit of a figure eight action on that third step. We'll have another look at it during the game. She's got quite a good push away and so on, but in the third step she does bring her arm up behind her back just a little and then straightens it up again.
Mary Flower also leaves an open frame, perhaps just a sign of nerves. One that she probably would have been expected to pick up, difficult as it may have been, but that's the luck of the draw. Of course, the winner of this match will go into the final to play Barbara Richmond, who in fact is the coach of Jo Ellen Day.
Well, that's a better shot by Mary Flower, and coming back after a missed spare with a strike in the third frame. 9 pins the difference, so Jo Ellen Day has a little bit of breathing space, but she has to counter this strike in her next shot. That's a better looking ball. Great pin action by Jo Ellen Day to counter the strike and remain 9 pins behind. That's a good looking shot.
Could so easily have been her second strike. Just that solitary pin left standing, which she should be able to pick up to give her a spare.
Yeah, she would have liked to double that time because that would have put the pressure back on Flower to continue striking. Not to be.
The spare it is for Jo Ellen Day.
And again, of course, like all good bowlers, hitting the spare right in the belly of the pin, having no chance then to stray with that spare shot. Mary Flower, can she get another strike?
Well, perhaps a little fortunate for her. She could have been left with a very difficult split there. Just at the last moment, one of those pins electing to fall, which leaves her with just the 1 pin for the spare.
Yes, that 8 pin only just being nudged out of the way, and that's the problem perhaps with bowling a lightweight ball. Doesn't have the penetrating power of the heavyweight 15 and 16 pounders. It's still 9 pins the difference. 47 plays 38. Mary Flower's up in the top of the 5th on her next visit to lane 11. Mary's been 1 pin off the perfect game, John, and apparently that pin that she did leave after 11 successive strikes rocked and didn't go. 299's her highest game, and it's the highest game of all the women finalists. Both of these Queensland girls getting good support from the local crowd. Just dragging the ball across to the left a little bit, grimacing as she leaves that pin on the right-hand side of the lane. It's the pin number 6. And she's moving across left to go for it.
And the spare without any problems.
Well, this is where Jo Ellen Day usually starts making a bit of a move. She's in the 5th frame now, and she's about 9 pins in arrears. The crowd here willing those pins to fall over, but the ball didn't quite make it up to the head pin. She was fortunate to get 9 out of that. That could well have been a 7 count. And look at that face, concentrating on pushaways. and on a solid release each time.
So at the completion of the fourth frame, it was 66 plays 57 in favour of Mary Flower. A spare to Jo Ellen Day.
Jo Ellen would like to win this match for reasons apart from personal gain. It will mean that she'll set up a grand final clash against the top-seeded Barbara Richmond, and it'll be a case of pupil versus teacher, because Barbara is her coach. Be quite an interesting clash, and of course if she does well in this tournament, Jo Ellen Day could well be in the Australian team to bowl against the USA in a series of test matches next year.
Well, she needs a strike here. Not to be.
And as we so often see in semi-final games, the nerves making it just a little bit more difficult to get strikes. Lots of 9s so far. Jo Ellen's had 3 of them in a row, and Mary Flower's had 3 out of 5. The girls tensing up under the pressure of the semi-final clash. The loser of this game gets $400. The winner goes on to the grand final.
Just for a fleeting moment, it looked as though she was going to have another open frame, but she was able to pick up the spare. Perhaps a few heart flutters.
Yes, and a little bit of emotion coming on Jo Ellen's face then. She licked her lips when she came back, and now back into the world of concentration, the world of thinking about things other than the situation she's in at the moment. Not bad. That's a good result. And Mary Flower has the look of someone who's in a desperate situation. She doesn't look at ease with the predicament she's in. Not really a predicament when you're 9 pins ahead, but she's very nervous.
There it is for Mary Flower. The completion of the 5th. She was in front 85 to 76, holding that still that 9-pin lead as she goes over to bowl on lane 11.
This is a big moment for Mary Flower. This is the most important match that she's ever played in.
And that makes for a difficult spare, an awkward split for her.
Yes, a nervous shot, possibly a bit frustrated with all the 9s that she's left, and trying to do a little bit more to the ball, and of course that makes you drag it through the release, and as a result you go high on the head pin. Good thinking, Mary Flower. Taking one of those, she may need that pin that she got then at the end of the game. 112 in the 7th frame. If Jo Ellen Day can get another 9 spare or a strike, she'll have a 3 or 4 pin lead. Definitely a sign of trying a little bit too hard. That's the first really cold 10-pin wrap we've seen Jo Ellen have in her 3.5 games so far.
She bowled just so well against Jeanette Baker-Flynn, but perhaps knowing now that she's just 1 game away from a berth in the final, and if she can win the final, not only the cash prize, but also the trip with Qantas to play in that Las Vegas tournament. And it's starting to worry her, obviously. But she still does well to pick up the spare. This is a very important bowl for Jo Ellen Day. She's got it away well. No mistake about it.
Very composed under pressure is Jo Ellen Day.
Showing very few signs of emotion, but no doubt she's very, very nervous. She led by 5 at the end of the 8th, 135 to 130. Of course, an open frame by Mary Flower in the 9th.
Oh, and I tell you what, she was lucky to get rid of that 9-pin then. Let's have a look at it. It almost stands, and if that had been up, she was in trouble. She needs the spare to close the gate on Mary Flower. If she gets a spare and 6 or more, she can't lose. She needs this spare.
Taking her time.
She's got it.
No mistakes.
Well, she needs 6 to win. If she gets 5, it can still be tied up by Mary Flower, who would then need 3 strikes in a row in the 10th frame. A tall order, but boy, haven't we seen some amazing results in this tournament so far. The women's matches difference in the scores have been 8 pins, 13, 14, 2, 6, 2 and 52 pins.
Well, that's enough for her. Finishes with 172, Joellen Day. So she goes into the final.
Well, she's averaging 200 now for her 4 games. That's give her a total of 800 for the 4 games, and of course 4 wins in a row. That's a great effort. And Mary will be bitterly disappointed with her performance here, well below the 194 qualifying average, but she'll learn from this experience. There's no question about that. So it's an all-Queensland final between Joellen Day and Barbara Richmond, teacher and pupil.
And having bowled so well in the qualifying, Mary Flower would be disappointed at her performance in the preliminary final. But no doubt nerves have had a lot to do with the way she's bowled in this match. So she finishes with 157. So the winner by 15 pins is Joellen Day, 172 to 157. Joellen Day to meet Barbara Richmond in the final. Flower finishing in 3rd position, takes away $400. I suppose, Mary, you may have been a little bit disappointed having done so well in the qualifying.
In a way I was, but I'm very happy to be where I was because that was most unexpected too.
I think it's fair to say, and we said it during the commentary of the match, that nerves weren't helping you.
More lack of concentration, I think, in an unfamiliar environment.
Well, congratulations on finishing 3rd in your cheque for $400.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And Joellen, this is becoming a habit. That's 4 in a row. You've got 1 more to go and you're up against the teacher, Barbara Richmond.
Yep.
Well, you should know all about her game. What are your chances?
Oh, I'll just go out there and do my best. Barb's bowling really well, so it's just the luck of the one game.
Well, you were probably a little bit below your best form, the form you showed against Jeanette Baker-Flynn in the previous match in that game, but still good enough to get through, so we wish you luck in the final. It'll be a top match.
Thanks very much.
All right, and that will be a great game. The pupil versus the teacher. Joellen Day, who's done so well during this tournament, up against Barbara Richmond, and that'll be the women's final of the Coca-Cola Classic, which you'll be seeing soon from Logan City Lanes.